Well, I guess this is beginning to settle into a bi-weekly video then. But I'm not so bothered about that, as it's just a consequence of me having so many projects at the go at once, so it takes me a couple of weeks to show any discernible progress on any one individual project. Having said that, let's begin with some positive news about a project that's plodding along at a reasonable pace, for me that is, and let's have a look at how I'm getting on with my teeny 1/144th scale Focke-Wulf 190. Yep, amazing as it is, you can actually see that there's some uncharacteristically tangible progress here. In fact, I'd say that in the week I've been working on this, even a bit at a time, I reckon I'm over halfway through, and I predict that by the next bi-weekly update this model will be finished. And there's more ongoing progress regarding my Captain Pickard model, but again it's good news with some interesting painting work by way of the finished skin tones. Yes, Pcard actually looks a little bit like Pcard now. Again, I'm kind of pleased with my work here, mainly because painting is a lot more of an effort these days because of my reduced hand coordination. It's very much a case of me having to go over and over dodgy painting mistakes until I eventually achieve something adequate. Still, for my first attempt at a larger scale bust model, I'm quietly pleased. Now I can move on to the painting effects on the uniform itself. Less pleasing is the work on my Spartan Helmet, as I've had to admit defeat in the way I was going with this one, put on the brakes and kind of take a big step backwards. Sadly, my attempts at a bronze metal effect was looking far too sparkly and gold. It was a bit over the top, considering I want to go for an antique or worn or dull metal effect. And so, I decided to paint over the shiny gold in an attempt to tone it down a bit and turn the shade to more of a reddy bronze colour. To do this, I brought out the big guns, well, my new airbrush that is. I hadn't planned to use the airbrush yet, and I wanted to get a bit more organised in setting it up, but I was too frustrated with the failure of my first painting attempt on the helmet, so I launched it straight into an ad hoc airbrushing session. Note the lack of a proper spray booth here. Luckily the wife was busy elsewhere. But much to my surprise, for my first effort, this battery operated airbrush worked fairly much as advertised and produced a nicely semi-transparent filter layer on top of the gold, which created a pleasing bronze tone. And moving on, here's a quick peek of my ongoing Webley model. Again, there's some satisfying progression, so really I'm on a roll this week. I managed to get the black base coat paint on the model, and it now actually looks like a fair representation of an actual revolver. The paint job is deliberately a bit flat, as I believe this is how the wartime Webleys were finished, as opposed to a nice commercial blued finish. In any case, I'm kind of pleased with this. Now I have to put some serious thought into how I'm going to mount this model for display. And finally, here's something a little bit different I wanted to show you, just to illustrate that I'm not just working on model kits or 3D models. I've been working on this Viking themed ornamental box as a Christmas gift from my eldest daughter, but don't worry, I can show you this as she never watches any of my YouTube videos. This is my chance to try out a new technique, pyrography, where I actually burn the decorative designs into the wooden box. I was pretty happy with how it turned out, and I even managed to work with felt for the first time to line the insides. All in all, it's been a pretty productive couple of weeks for a change, but that's all for the moment, so take it easy, and I'll see you again in a couple of weeks.